whistleblowers turning up dead. The second whistleblower of Boeing has died. Kelley, why don't you tell us more about this? Because I don't know anything other than he's dead.
Yes. So it's a very, very shocking and sad story. But we have the second Boeing whistleblower that has passed away. His name is Josh Dean. We have a photo of him here. And he looks like a relatively healthy guy. He's 45 years old. Was 45 years old. He was 45 years old, and about 2 weeks ago, he went into the hospital because he was having trouble breathing. Again, his family, his friends, he lived a relatively healthy lifestyle. He's very fit. So he went in the hospital about 2 weeks ago, having trouble breathing. He gets intubated. He contracts a staph infection called MRSA. And it quickly goes downhill from there. I believe he developed, I don't know if that's
MRSA.
MRSA. Yep. A blood infection. He was put on an ECMO machine. So they basically acts as your lungs and heart outside of your body and is like trying to clean everything. And I believe he had a stroke while he was in a coma. And then the doctors were considering amputating his arms and legs because it was so bad, trying to save his life. And then he died. And this all happened within 2 weeks. To this poor man. So now, Josh Dean is a quality auditor for Spirit Aero Systems, which is the same company that John Barnett had reported on or had also blown the whistle on in terms of substandard parts. So Josh Dean was also currently in a lawsuit with Spirit Aero Systems in regards to substandard parts and substandard service. So what makes this so shocking is not only that as an isolated event, Josh Dean, very young guy, super sad and tragic. Like, how could this happen to a young, healthy guy that happens to be whistleblowing against a major corporation with damaging reports? It just happened a month ago to John Barnett, and we could show his picture. And so he passed away over a month ago, also under mysterious circumstances. He was in a 7-year battle with Boeing. He had been a quality assurance manager at a Boeing plant for 737s, and again had audited Spirit Aero Systems for substandard parts, reported it to his superiors at Boeing, and also that the servicemen putting it together weren't qualified. So he started whistleblowing about that. He was in a lawsuit for 7 years. He finally won his appeal through the courts to say that he was fired as retaliation for challenging his authority. Josh Dean, also same thing, was fired, and they were both suing as wrongful retaliation. And both of them happen to have the same lawyers, Robert Turkowitz and Brian Knowles. Robert Turkowitz was recently on the PBD podcast, and that was a really great interview. You should check that out. That'll be in the description. But both of them were being represented by the same lawyers for these lawsuits. And then just when John Barnett finished his testimony, right at the end of his testimony, he had a couple more hours next morning. He was anxious to go home, see his mom. He shot himself in his Dodge truck outside of his hotel. Nobody believes that it was true. His lawyers are shocked because he just, did this 7-year battle. Yeah, go ahead.
The whole thing that was suspect to me about that suicide was he killed himself in his truck, but he had a hotel room. Yeah. Like, for me, I've never been in the throes of suicidal depression where I'm like, I'm going to take my own life. But and so you're clearly not thinking in the best headspace at that point. Mm-hmm. But I would think even then you'd be like, hey, I don't want my family, like if I'm going to kill myself and I have a hotel room, I'd rather do it in the hotel room rather than in my truck because, hey, I do it in the hotel room. My family can still take my truck and sell it. They're going to need the money. I know that sounds very callous and cold to think about, but why, if you have the opportunity to kill yourself in a property you don't own, it's a hotel room, it's something, why wouldn't you go do it in there? Why would you do it in your own vehicle? So supposedly it was raining really, really hard that night. And if it was me, I probably wouldn't want to get out of the car anytime soon because I'd be soaking wet. That's the only thing I could think of. What that would be an argument for that. But he just finished his Taco Bell. There was Taco Bell sitting in the car. That's so depressed. That would make me want to kill myself. As your last meal, you had Taco Bell.
Taco Bell in a parking lot by yourself in a hotel room. Wasn't it a Motel 6 or something? Taco Bell in a Motel 6 parking lot.
That is why most stand-up comedians end up dying.
That might be the time to clock out.
Rock bottom.
He did so well during his testimony. His lawyers were so proud of him. He had just said, like, I want to go. He was supposed to go home that day. He was like, I want to go be with my mom. They had plans. He has a beautiful girlfriend, like, that used to work with him at Boeing. Like, what is happening? And they supposedly found a note. Which I believe it was his brother or a certain family member that said they didn't believe the note. It didn't sound like John. So that was super shocking.
On the Josh Dean subject, like we said, he worked for Spirit Aero Systems. That's the company that manufactured the door plug that failed on that Alaska Airlines flight back in January.
And we actually have that video. We could play it a little bit. But yeah,
it's terrifying.
The door blew out, right? Can you imagine being on a plane and not having a door and you think you're gonna die?
Oh my God!
Look at it.
Well, because every time you've ever seen something like that happen in a movie or TV show, then the whole plane disintegrates.
Yeah,
People
they
start
get sucked
getting
out.
sucked out.
Yes, exactly.
They're all playing it cool.
Relatively calm too. I mean, the back. And these people are just like, oh, okay, there's no door. We're gonna land, I guess.
Let me make a TikTok to show. Look, there's just open space.
I don't lose my phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so
the investigation into that actually found that Spirit Aero Systems had, quote, misdrilled holes, and they found dozens of other door plugs that were manufactured with the same defect. And the missing bolts and everything, like, it all goes back to this supplier that makes these parts for Boeing, where they get the parts and then assemble them into planes. And it's like, oh, it didn't fit properly. Just hammer it on there. I'm sure it'll stick.
I just want to show you guys real quick this video from John Barnett, an interview he did before he died. And it says so clearly what we're talking about right now in regards to substandard parts and substandard service.
One, this is not a 737 problem. It's a Boeing problem. And I know the FAA's gone in and they've done due diligence and inspections to assure that the door plugs of the 737 are installed properly and the fasteners are stored properly. But my concern is, what's the rest of the airplane? What's the rest of the condition of the airplane? And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane, as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737 and the 787, because those programs have really embraced the theory that quality is overhead and non-value added. So those two programs have really put a strong effort into removing quality from the process. When I first started working at Charleston, I was in charge with pushing back defects to our suppliers. And what that meant was I'd take a group of inspectors and actually go to the supplier and inspect their product before they sent it in. Well, I'd taken a team of 4 inspectors to Spirit Aero Systems to inspect the 41 section before they sent it to Charleston. And we found 300 defects. Some of them were significant, that needed engineering intervention. When I returned to Charleston, my senior manager told me we had found too many defects and he was going to take the next trip. So the next trip he went on, he took 2 of my inspectors. And when they got back, they were given accolades for only finding 50 defects. So I pulled that inspector aside and I said, did Spirit really clean up their act that quick? That don't sound right. And she was mad. She said, no. Said the 2 inspectors were given 2 hours to inspect the whole 41 section and they were kicked off the airplane.
So imagine having found 300 defects and being told that you found too many. How can you find too many? And that you were, somebody else went and you were like, okay, hey, did you, back me up? Did you say that? And she's like, no, we got kicked off the plane. We were only allowed to find 47.
Imagine working in quality control. And you're told, oh, you're too much of a perfectionist. Come on, people make mistakes. Be a little more forgiving.
It's only your life when you go on these planes.
What percent of the market is Boeing? It's like, what, 40, 50% of all the airplanes out there?
It's
and
them and who? Airbus?
Yeah, Airbus. Something.
Airbus? Yeah. What's interesting is, even in that video, he said 737 and 787. So he specifically worked at a 737 plant, and Josh Dean had worked at a 787, parts for 787 at Spirit Aero Systems. And it's just crazy. This next video, 3 videos, so we could just play them back to back, but these next 3 videos show you people that are actually building the planes. This is behind the scenes, people actually building the planes, what they think about if they would fly on a Boeing plane.
Are assembling the company's flagship product, the 787 Dreamliner. But this footage
this is at a 787 plant.
Faith in the plane
which
they
is
built.
what where Josh Dean.
You won't fly in one. Did you fly one of these planes?
No, not really. And the next one?
Talking about Dreamliner, it's a nightmare liner.
because I see the quality going down around here.
Next one.
Oh, Waffle House.
Painkillers. And you can get weed here. It's really good weed. They don't drug test nobody.
I know they don't.
They don't drug test. So not only are you getting substandard parts with over 300 defects, you're also getting people on drugs building these planes that you're about to put your life on and fly away.
Fantastic.
It's shocking. So there is another whistleblower whose name is out there. His name is Sam Salapur, and he recently just testified in Congress, I think 2 weeks ago, a week ago, Connor, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know?
Yeah, about a week and a half ago.
And so I fear for this man's life. I really hope he's safe and we protect him at all costs. He said something really profound during his testimony that, I know I'm a whistleblower and I'm at peace because I know that I've done the right thing to protect people and help, raise our safety standards. So my question to all of you is, we posted this on our Instagram story. Not one person believes that this is a coincidence that the second person died so tragically after one just died a month ago. Do you think Boeing and Spirit Aero systems are, in cahoots to kill these people off? Do you think that they're going to get away with it if they are? And do you think, what does this say about us as a society that we're unable to challenge, and we're, as a first world country, that we don't have safety standards that are above everyone else's? How can we let this happen?
Well, I can start with my first instinct is to say, okay, at total there are, as far as my Google research says, there's 32 employees of Boeing that have whistle blown. Okay, mm-hmm. Of those 32 employees, what are the statistical odds that 2 of them would die in a month? And obviously, I'm no good at math. That's why I do this. But I asked ChatGPT to figure it out.
Yes!
ChatGPT came back and said there is a 0.0086% that this is a possibility.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
So thank you, ChatGPT.
Of natural death for 2 employees out of 32 to die in this short of amount of span.
And this isn't calculating, of the 32, how many of these, that are actual people that are whistleblowers, a certain subset, just based off the normal mortality rates for, the country. In an industrialized country, it is a 0.0086. It's not like I'm saying it's, we're looking at 800.
Less of a 1% chance.
Yeah, no, way less than a 100. This is 0.08 of a chance. It's nuts. So the fact that this happened, I've got zero confidence that this was, just of natural causes.
How do we protect whistleblowers in the future? How does anyone willingly come forward to save us from the unknown if we don't protect them?
I mean, we should probably start a GoFundMe for this guy who's the last whistleblower and have, a security force around him because,
Well, there are other ones, but I don't think everybody's name is out yet.
But he's the next public face of it, right?
He is.
So he better hide.
Sam, come on, Unusual Suspects.
Trump even has his own Secret Service for the Secret Service. He has his own. That's how you stay alive when you push the narrative. So, the problem is these people don't have the resources like Donald Trump has. What concerns me more, it's very freakish, the odds that this could happen. What concerns me more is watching those videos of those people talking that they're on drugs putting together planes. I worked in radio and we had to take drug tests yearly for the radio. And everybody was on drugs, but it was the radio. Who were we hurting if, I accidentally played the same Creed song twice in a row. I got burnt and forgot. The fact that these guys are able to, and look, I understand that we're at a point now where marijuana is being decriminalized, so maybe you don't test for marijuana, but definitely for cocaine and pills. Yeah, I do not want the guy that's in charge of making sure the rivets on the wing of the plane that I'm flying on is dozing off on pain pills. That's scary to me.
Well, even marijuana, in my opinion, I don't, you're doing a specific job, don't do it at that job. For certain jobs. Like if you're flying a plane, if you're building a plane, you can't do drugs. You could do it for other jobs.
The guy behind the bar that you go to after work is taking an edible. That's fine. It's not going to hurt your day. No. But the guy that, you're right, the guy that is piloting your plane, I don't want him going, hey, let's take these mushroom chocolates and see how fucked up we can get. Like, no.
It's very high stakes work when you're putting together a plane. Like you said, if you're on the radio, okay, how bad can it get if you're baked and you mess something up? But this is very high stakes stuff that lives are depending on, and for the fact that they have none of these standards. And I think John Barnett even said that when they run out of parts, they just go to the scrap heap and start pulling random stuff to make it work.
Well, they said they were also using dish soap as lubricant, and they were using like hotel credit card room keys to wedge into places where they needed to tighten things. It's like, how are you putting like that? That's what, if I asked my son to put together like a model airplane kit and he was running it, that's what he would do, but not paid professionals who were entrusting our lives.
And you talk about how do you defend the whistleblowers? Well, who gives people like that security right now? It's the government. Well, here's the problem. Kelley and I just had a whole conversation about this the other day. Right now, civilian aircrafts are only part of what Boeing does. This is not primarily a plane company. Yep. They are a massive defense contractor. So there's your government connection. Because the government and Boeing have this whole relationship that they're very heavily invested in each other. There's one huge concern. Are they cutting corners on stuff they're giving to troops in combat zones? Which would be terrifying. But far more likely, they're cutting all the corners on the civilian side to pour more resources into the military stuff because they know where their bread is buttered. They know where all their money comes from. So, okay, this guy's about to blow Boeing wide open and expose them for all the terrible stuff they're doing. Government, send some guys to defend him. Oh yeah, sure. I'm sure that'll work out very well for him down the line.
I'm at the point where I'm flying home this weekend, and I'm literally picking the specific airline. I'm trying to resurch if it's a plane.
Kelley.
I don't want to fly a Boeing. I don't trust it.
It's got about as good a chance as that Sam guy, that whistleblower, as surviving at this point.
I'm just gonna drive there or fly Spirit Airways.
So which is gonna collapse and fall faster? Boeing whistleblowers, Boeing stock, or Boeing planes?
Oh, God.
Well, the stock already went down. We saw that.
Yeah.
Well, I would encourage you to go watch the interview with apparently both of these now deceased whistleblowers' attorneys, Robert Turkowitz. Patrick did it after the first guy, John Barnett, had died.
Yep.
Before the latest whistleblower that Robert Turkowitz also represented died. So go and find that. I'm sure the link will be in the description.
It will, as will the Suits and Sinners. Our first episode was about John Barnett and how his Boeing whistleblower experience. So that is also in the description.